Elias Kane had always believed that life on the outer colonies was quiet, predictable, and boring. Orvath 9, the planet he now orbited in the mining colony Haven Station, was known for its rich mineral deposits and harsh, jagged surface. From the station's observation deck, the planet below looked like a vast gray puzzle, crisscrossed with deep canyons and metal veins shining faintly under the artificial lights. Elias rubbed his tired eyes, wishing he could take a break from the routine inspections. Mining work was steady, but it left little room for adventure. Most of his days were spent checking machinery, monitoring drilling drones, and logging mineral samples for the central database. But today, something felt different. Today, something called to him, though he didn't yet know what it was. He suited up in his standard exploration gear, a durable gray jumpsuit reinforced for asteroid surveys, and entered the small shuttle that would carry him to the asteroid belt at the edge of the system. The belt was a scattered graveyard of rock and ice, each piece holding potential wealth or danger. Elias had been assigned to check a new cluster of asteroids that the sensors had marked as unusual. Normally, these were empty, lifeless rocks. But there was always a chance of discovery. The shuttle hummed as it left Haven Station. Through the cockpit window, the asteroid belt stretched out like a frozen storm. Elias's eyes scanned the readings. One rock in particular had drawn his attention, a small, irregularly shaped mass that emitted faint energy readings. He hadn't noticed it on previous surveys. Curiosity nudged him forward. As he approached, he noticed something strange. Embedded in the surface of the asteroid was a small circular object, glowing faintly with a soft blue light. It was no larger than the palm of his hand, and yet it seemed alive. The object had no visible seams or markings, just a smooth metallic surface that pulsed gently. Elias's heart skipped a beat. He activated the shuttle's external manipulator arm and carefully lifted the object from the asteroid. The moment his gloved fingers brushed against it, a warm pulse traveled up his arm. He instinctively pulled back, startled. "What the?" he whispered. The glow didn't fade. In fact, it brightened, as if responding to him. Elias examined it more closely. The object was a ring, perfectly round and impossible to ignore. It had an intricate pattern etched into its surface, faint lines that seemed to shift when he moved it under the shuttle lights. Despite its alien appearance, there was a sense of familiarity, a strange comfort that made him want to hold it closer. He hesitated. Artifacts from uncharted space were supposed to be reported immediately to the authorities. The ancient cosmic civilization, long extinct, had left relics like this scattered across galaxies, but their technology was heavily restricted. Only approved research teams could study them. And yet this ring felt different. Elias set it on the dashboard and watched it. The ring pulsed again, softly at first, then in a rhythm that almost matched his own heartbeat. A strange thought crossed his mind. Maybe the ring wasn't just a piece of old technology. Maybe it was. Waiting. A beep from the shuttle's console broke his thoughts. The station's AI, Arden, spoke in its calm, neutral tone. Elias Kane, caution is advised. Object classification suggests potentially hazardous alien artifact. Retrieval should follow protocol. Recommend immediate return to Haven Station. Elias swallowed. He knew Arden was right. Protocol existed for a reason, but he couldn't ignore the pull of the ring. Something about it felt intentional, as if it had chosen him, not the shuttle, not the station. Him. With careful hands, he secured the ring in a containment field designed for sensitive materials. Yet even inside the protective barrier, the pulse reached him. It was subtle, like a whisper at the edge of consciousness. Elias shook his head. He needed to stay rational. He couldn't let imagination override logic. As the shuttle turned back toward Haven Station, Elias noticed another unusual reading. The ring was emitting a faint energy signature, one that seemed to interact with the shuttle itself. Power systems fluctuated slightly, though nothing critical. It was as if the ring were testing him, probing boundaries, learning. When he docked, the station's security personnel immediately noticed the anomaly on the shuttle scanners. 2 officers, armed and cautious, entered the cargo bay. "Kane," one said, his voice firm, "we need to see that artifact." Elias hesitated, holding the ring in his gloved hands. "It's just a small ring," he said, trying to sound casual. "I found it on an asteroid." "No signs of danger?" The officer's eyes narrowed. "You know the rules." Any alien artifacts are restricted until examined by the Galactic Authority. Hand it over. Elias considered protesting, but the ring pulsed again in his hand. The pulse was warm, almost reassuring, and he realized that letting it go might mean losing something incredible, something he couldn't quite explain. I understand, he said finally, placing it on a secure transport pad. But even as he did, he couldn't shake the feeling that the ring wasn't finished with him. Over the next few hours, Elias couldn't focus on his work. The shuttle, the asteroid, even the cold metallic corridors of Haven Station seemed dull in comparison to the pull he felt. He kept glancing at the containment pad, where the ring rested, glowing faintly. Every so often it would shimmer as if acknowledging him. In his quarters that evening, Elias tried to sleep, but the image of the ring haunted him. His dreams were filled with swirling stars, unfamiliar constellations, and a sense of being watched, not in fear, but in expectation. He woke up in the middle of the night sweating slightly, and knew he had to see it again. The containment pad in the lab was secure, monitored by the station's AI. No one could remove the ring without authorization, yet as he approached it, he felt a strange vibration under his feet. The ring pulsed brighter than ever, and for a fleeting moment Elias thought he saw lines of light stretch from the ring across the room, connecting him to something beyond his understanding. He reached out. The second his fingers brushed the surface, a calm clarity washed over him. Images of distant planets, glittering galaxies, and patterns of energy filled his mind. It was overwhelming yet familiar, as if the universe itself were speaking directly to him. "Why me?" he whispered aloud. He didn't expect an answer. But the pulse from the ring seemed to tighten, focusing on him alone, almost like a heartbeat. A warning beep from Arden brought him back to reality. Warning: unauthorized interaction with alien artifact detected. Recommend immediate disengagement. Elias nodded, stepping back reluctantly. But the thought lingered. Perhaps the ring had chosen him for a reason. Perhaps the quiet, predictable life he had always known was about to end. The night passed, and the colony went about its routine as usual, oblivious to the discovery that had changed Elias Kane's life forever. But somewhere deep in the asteroid belt, the ring waited, pulsing softly, watching, and deciding. And Elias, unaware, felt the first stirrings of a connection that would challenge everything he believed about humanity, the universe, and his own place among the stars. Elias Kane woke with a start. The soft hum of Haven Station filled the room, but something felt different. His body tingled faintly, as if the air itself carried energy. He rubbed his eyes and remembered the ring. The pulse from it last night had left a mark in his mind. Not pain, not fear, but an echo of connection. He dressed quickly, ignoring the routine fatigue that usually accompanied long nights on the station. The ring had not left the containment pad since yesterday. He hurried to the lab, weaving through the corridors that felt emptier than usual. Even the hum of machinery seemed quieter, almost as if the entire station was holding its breath. When he entered the lab, the ring glowed faintly, its pulse stronger than he remembered. It wasn't just light. It was motion, a rhythm that matched his heartbeat exactly. Elias approached cautiously, remembering the warnings from Arden, the station AI. "Elias Kane," Arden said, its voice calm and neutral. "Artifact shows increased energy emissions. Interaction may be unsafe." Elias paused, looking at the ring. "Arden," he said softly, "I think it's trying to communicate. I have to see." He reached out, gloved fingers hovering just above the ring. The moment he touched it, the world around him shifted. The lab vanished. In its place, stars swirled, and he felt weightless, suspended in a cosmic void. Lines of light stretched from the ring, connecting distant galaxies in intricate patterns. Elias gasped. He saw civilizations rising and falling, planets forming and shifting, and energy flows that defied everything he had learned in school. Yet, amid the overwhelming vastness, there was a calm. The ring was not chaotic. It was deliberate, guiding him, showing him something important. A voice spoke, not in words, but as understanding. It was a presence that filled his mind gently, without fear or coercion. Elias realized the ring had chosen him. Not by accident, not randomly, but because he was capable, because humans had something the universe could not ignore. He pulled back suddenly, returning to the lab. His heart pounded and his hands trembled. It's alive," he whispered. The ring's pulse softened, almost as if it were responding to his fear. Elias leaned closer. The glow formed patterns, images of star systems and energy streams. He understood that the ring could manipulate energy, create force fields, and possibly even project illusions or holographic forms. But more than that, it seemed to be teaching him, preparing him for something beyond the station, beyond Orvath 9, beyond anything humanity had encountered. Elias spent hours observing the ring. Every time he touched it, small bursts of energy ran through him, strengthening his reflexes and sharpening his senses. He caught himself moving faster, reacting quicker to the smallest sound or movement. Arden monitored the readings closely, noting that the artifact was altering the electromagnetic field in a way never before recorded. Then came the first warning. Sensors on the station picked up faint movements outside the system, small fast ships unregistered and alien. Elias watched the monitors, feeling a mix of excitement and dread. He didn't know who they were, but the energy signature matched the ring's subtle pulse. The ships didn't attack immediately. They hovered near the edge of the system, scanning, waiting. Elias felt the ring's pulse accelerate when the monitors showed them. It was as if it recognized the ships and wanted him to notice. Elias knew that whatever the ring was, it had drawn attention, and not the kind of attention that would be gentle. He had a choice: hide the ring and hope the unknown ships left, or prepare, learn, and face whatever was coming. Over the next days, Elias experimented. He touched the ring and discovered he could sense its energy beyond the physical world. He could see faint lines of force in the station, energy pathways that ran like hidden rivers through walls and floors. He could sense the ships at the edge of the system without the monitors. Each discovery made him more aware, more confident, yet more wary of what might follow. One evening, he tried something new. He focused, imagining the ring's energy flowing through him. To his surprise, the ring responded, creating a shield of faint blue light around his hand. He moved his fingers and the shield followed, forming a dome around a small table. Elias laughed softly, amazed. If he could control this, the ring was more than just an artifact. It was a tool, a weapon, and a guide all in one. But the excitement was tempered by unease. The alien ships moved closer, scanning every asteroid, every shuttle, every trace of energy. Elias realized that the ring had not just chosen him. It had made him visible to those who sought it. The same qualities that allowed humans to hold it might make them targets. Elias shared nothing with anyone. The authorities would confiscate it immediately, and most people could not understand it anyway. This was personal. He felt the responsibility settling on him like a weight. It was not just a curiosity now. It was a test. Could a human, an ordinary human, handle something extraordinary? One night, while Elias was studying the energy patterns, the ring pulsed violently, projecting an image into the room. It was a map, showing distant systems and hidden paths through asteroid fields and energy currents. Lines connected planets he had never heard of, and symbols marked locations that seemed to hold significance. Arden, monitoring, gave a quiet warning. Unknown energy readings detected. Artifact appears to be transmitting beyond local space. Elias nodded, understanding. The ring was guiding him, not just teaching him, but preparing him to move, to act. The alien ships were not random, they were coming for it. And perhaps for him too. The next day, he made a choice. Elias left the routine corridors of Haven Station and ventured into the observation decks. He stared at the stars, imagining the alien ships in the void. For the first time, he felt something swell in him. Not fear, but courage. Humans had survived against odds that no one else could imagine. They had adapted, learned, and overcome. Maybe that was why the ring had chosen him. As he returned to the lab, he noticed the ring pulsing in a pattern he hadn't seen before. It was almost like a heartbeat, steady and deliberate. Elias reached out again, touching it with a firm, confident hand. The familiar rush of energy coursed through him, and he felt a thought, clear and insistent, form in his mind. Prepare, learn, adapt. Hours passed like minutes as he experimented with the ring. He discovered he could sense energy flows in the station, predict movements of drones, and even anticipate shifts in power distribution. Every skill was small but combined. They made him faster, sharper, and more aware than anyone else in Haven Station. By the end of the day, Elias realized the full truth. The ring was not just a relic, it was a partner. It had chosen him for a reason. And with that choice came responsibility. Humanity might not be ready for the wider universe yet, but perhaps through him, they could begin to rise to the challenge. That night, Elias sat alone in his quarters, staring at the small, glowing ring. He no longer feared it. He no longer questioned why it had chosen him. He only wondered how far it could take him, and whether he was ready for the journey that was about to begin. And somewhere beyond Orvath 9, in the dark reaches of space, the alien scouts watched, their curiosity and caution growing. Elias Kane was no ordinary human, and the ring had awakened something in him that no one, not even the most advanced alien civilizations, could ignore. The bond between man and artifact had begun, and the universe itself seemed to wait for what would come next. Elias Kane had learned to trust the ring. It guided him, gave him clarity, and sharpened his instincts. Yet he had not expected the first test to come so soon. The warning came early one morning. The station's sensors picked up multiple energy signatures approaching Orvath 9. Not just random ships, but fast, coordinated, intelligent movements. Elias's pulse quickened as he realized that the alien scouts he had sensed were no longer merely observing. They were preparing to engage. Arden, the station AI, monitored the readings. Unknown vessels approaching. Estimated time to reach station, 15 minutes. Their energy signature indicates advanced technology beyond known civilizations. Elias clenched his fists. He had never been in a battle before, not in his life. But the ring's pulse was strong in his palm, almost like encouragement. It was as if it knew that human ingenuity, quick thinking, and courage would make a difference. He rushed to the observation deck. Outside, the alien ships glimmered faintly against the black backdrop of space. Sleek, angular, and fast-moving, they emitted a soft hum of energy that resonated eerily with the ring. Elias felt the pulse grow stronger as the ships drew closer. They were coming for him, and for the ring he had to act. Using the station's internal systems, Elias tapped into the energy grids, guided by the ring. He could feel the power flowing along circuits and conduits, and for the first time, he realized he could influence it. Lights flickered, drones responded faster than usual, and the airlocks moved almost on instinct. He was becoming an extension of the station itself, guided by the ring's energy. The first wave of scouts arrived at the outer defense perimeter. Small, fast, and maneuverable, they darted like shadows, testing the station's sensors and shields. Elias had no weapons, at least none conventional. But the ring's energy responded to his intent. A faint barrier formed around the station, invisible to the naked eye but strong enough to deflect the scouts' initial probes. The aliens hesitated. They were not accustomed to humans wielding power in such unpredictable ways. Their technology was precise, logical, but rigid. Elias realized the advantage. Humans were unpredictable, creative, and willing to improvise. Traits the ring had recognized when it chose him. He focused on the ring, imagining barriers, diversions, and false targets. Almost instantly, energy forms manifested. Holographic decoys of the station flickered into existence, moving and responding like the real thing. The alien scouts fired at them, wasting energy and time while the station itself remained untouched. Hours passed, yet Elias remained calm. The ring guided him in every decision, subtle vibrations signaling the best course of action. He directed drones to intercept and confuse the alien ships, using the station's environment creatively. Asteroids nearby were nudged slightly with minimal energy, creating debris paths that slowed the scouts. Every move was calculated but unpredictable, human ingenuity at its finest. Despite the stress, Elias felt a strange exhilaration. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and somehow, in some small way, he was proving that they could still rise to challenges no one else could face. The alien scouts were impressive, but they underestimated the resourcefulness of one determined human with an extraordinary tool. During a brief lull in the engagement, Elias noticed something new. The ring projected a faint map of energy currents in space, showing him patterns the aliens were likely following. He realized he could anticipate their movements, predicting their attacks before they happened. It was like a game of chess, and for the first time, he understood the true extent of the bond with the ring. But victory was not guaranteed. The scouts adapted, shifting tactics and forming complex attack formations. Elias had to think faster, act quicker, and rely entirely on the ring's guidance. He combined physical movement, energy manipulation, and strategic deception. Drones were sent on misleading paths, lights flickered in patterns to confuse sensors, and energy barriers appeared suddenly to block attacks. Through it all, Elias learned something important. The ring did not do the work for him. It enhanced him, guided him, and gave him tools, but the decisions, the courage, and the creativity had to come from him. Humanity's strength was not in raw power, but in thinking, adapting, and acting where logic alone failed. As the alien scouts retreated temporarily, Elias caught his breath. The first wave had tested him in the station, but they were not finished. The ring pulsed steadily, almost like a heartbeat, and Elias understood its message. This was only the beginning. Humans were being tested, and he was the representative of their species. He spent the following day preparing. Using the station's systems and the ring, he created contingency plans. Every corridor, every airlock, and every drone was monitored and ready. The ring guided him, highlighting weaknesses in both the station's defenses and the alien technology. He practiced projecting energy forms, manipulating barriers, and predicting movements. Then came the second wave, faster and more coordinated. This time, the aliens attempted to board the station. Small pods entered the outer docks, deploying advanced scouts designed to bypass defenses. Elias felt the ring pulse urgently, warning him of danger. He acted quickly, creating sudden energy barriers that diverted the pods and trapped some in containment fields. The station AI marveled at his actions. Elias Kane, efficiency in crisis exceeds known parameters. Artifact integration achieving unprecedented human response. Elias allowed himself a small smile. For the first time, he felt the weight of the ring's choice. It had picked him because he could rise to challenges, because he could adapt, because he could think beyond rules and routines. Humanity itself was proving worthy through his actions. The alien scouts retreated once more, leaving only faint traces in orbit. Elias monitored them carefully, but he knew this was not the end. The ring's glow in his hand reminded him that the bond was growing stronger, and so was his responsibility. The universe had noticed humanity now, and there would be further tests. In the quiet that followed, Elias reflected on what had happened. He had never considered himself a hero. He had been a miner, a surveyor, an ordinary human with ordinary skills. Yet in the span of a few days, he had learned that ordinary humans could achieve extraordinary things when pushed, guided, and united with a purpose. The ring pulsed softly, almost like a nod of approval. Elias understood. It had chosen him not for strength, but for adaptability, courage, and ingenuity, qualities that defined humanity. And the alien scouts, with all their advanced technology, had underestimated him for the same reason. As night fell over Orvath 9, Elias sat in the observation deck, staring at the stars beyond. The ring glowed faintly on his desk, a reminder that this was only the beginning. He was not just protecting a piece of alien technology. He was defending humanity's place in the galaxy, proving that humans were capable of rising to challenges no one else could face. He knew there would be more trials. The alien scouts would return, perhaps with stronger forces. Other civilizations might notice the unusual human ability to wield cosmic artifacts. But Elias also knew something else. Humans had something no machine or alien intelligence could replicate: creativity, courage, and the spark of ingenuity. The night passed quietly, but Elias could feel the bond with the ring strengthening. He was no longer just a man with a strange artifact. He was a human chosen by the cosmos to represent his species, to rise in ways others could not. And somewhere in the depths of space, the alien scouts reported back. They had underestimated humans, and they would have to reconsider. The universe was not just watching Elias Kane. It was beginning to recognize humanity itself. The trial of the first contact had begun, and Elias, guided by the ring, had passed the first test. But he knew the journey ahead would demand even greater courage, ingenuity, and heart. Humanity was being measured, and through him, they were showing the galaxy that they were more than capable of rising to the challenge. Elias Kane stared at the glowing ring in his hand. Its pulse was steady now, no longer urgent but insistent. For days he had sensed its intelligence, its will, guiding him, teaching him. And now the ring seemed ready to share more than just energy manipulations or defense abilities. It was ready to reveal its origin. That evening, Elias activated the ring in the isolation of his quarters. The room shimmered as the artifact projected a luminous map, stretching beyond the walls of Haven Station into the void of space. Stars and planets appeared, connected by threads of light, forming patterns he could not fully comprehend. A voice, or rather a presence, filled his mind again. "Elias Kane," it said, not in sound but in thought. "You have proven yourself worthy. The ring seeks those who can bear responsibility, who can adapt, and who can think beyond limitation. You are chosen." Elias swallowed hard. "Chosen for what?" he asked, unsure if he would hear a reply in words he could recognize. The ring pulsed and images formed in his mind. Ancient civilizations lost to time had created these rings, not as weapons but as guardians. They were designed to recognize sentient beings capable of stewardship, those who could preserve life, knowledge, and harmony across the stars. The humans of Haven Station, he realized, had been observed, evaluated, and found capable. You humans, the ring's presence continued, possess qualities rare in the universe: courage, ingenuity, and creativity. You think beyond rigid rules, act unpredictably, and adapt to challenges. This makes you worthy to carry the ring's purpose. Elias felt a mix of awe and fear. It was one thing to hold an artifact, another to understand that humanity itself was being judged by cosmic standards. He realized the ring had not just chosen him, it had chosen humans through him. He spent hours exploring the map, learning hidden pathways and systems. The ring showed him energy flows, cosmic currents, and potential dangers. He saw planets teeming with life, some on the brink of collapse, others already lost to conflict. The ring's purpose became clear. It sought to guide civilizations, to prevent catastrophic errors, and to preserve knowledge. The alien scouts that had tested him before were part of this larger universe. They were not enemies in the simple sense, they were observers and enforcers of their own rules. But humans, unpredictable as ever, had passed a trial they did not even know existed. Elias realized that the next step was diplomacy, not combat. The scouts had tested him once, but further confrontations could be avoided if humans demonstrated understanding, courage, and strategic thinking. The ring pulsed again, showing him paths to reach these beings, ways to communicate without hostility. Using Haven Station's communication array and the ring's guidance, Elias sent out a signal. It was not a threat, but a projection of his intent: to engage, to understand, and to show humanity's capability. It took hours, fine-tuning energy pulses, synchronizing patterns, and projecting calm authority. When the alien ships responded, he realized they had understood. Not fully, but enough to pause. The ring projected a holographic form for the first time, a shimmering figure representing Elias's own image, surrounded by threads of blue light. It was a symbol of humans' potential, the ring explained. "This is how others will perceive you," it said in the silent language of thought. "Through clarity, courage, and creativity, you can show your worth." The aliens approached cautiously, analyzing the projection. Elias's heart pounded, but he did not waver. Every skill he had learned in the past days, the energy manipulations, predictive awareness, and strategic thinking, he applied now. He projected calm, intelligence, and control. After tense hours, a response came, a signal of acknowledgement, a sign that further hostilities were not required. Elias exhaled in relief. Humanity had passed another test, not by force but by ingenuity, courage, and understanding. The ring pulsed once more, gently. "You are ready," it said. "Your people are ready, but the universe is vast. Many will test you, some with curiosity, some with caution, and others with aggression. Humanity's uniqueness will be observed and judged. You must guide your kind wisely." Elias understood the weight of the responsibility. This was no longer a personal journey. It was humanity's first step into a larger cosmic stage, and through him humans were being noticed, evaluated, and for now recognized as worthy. As the alien scouts departed, Elias felt a surge of pride, not arrogance, but a deep understanding of human potential. Humans had survived against impossible odds, adapted to harsh environments, and risen to challenges with ingenuity and courage. Now, they had been acknowledged by forces far beyond their comprehension. For the first time, Elias looked at the ring not as an object, but as a companion. It was a teacher, a guide, and a bridge between humanity and the wider universe. And as he stared out at the stars, he knew the journey was only beginning. Weeks passed, and life on Haven Station slowly returned to routine. But Elias Kane knew that nothing would ever be the same. The bond with the ring had deepened, its guidance flowing through him in subtle ways. Every decision, every observation, every action carried the weight of preparation for the challenges yet to come. The ring had revealed that it was part of a network, a collection of relics scattered across the galaxy. Each one sought a worthy bearer, a sentient being capable of stewardship, insight, and courage. Humans were now part of that cosmic chain, tested and chosen through Elias's actions. Elias spent his days teaching, guiding, and preparing others on Haven Station. He shared his knowledge cautiously, revealing the lessons of adaptability, observation, and creativity. Humans had survived in harsh colonies and against the unknown for centuries. Now they had a new purpose. The alien scouts returned not with hostility but with curiosity. They studied the station, the humans, and Elias. He welcomed them with calm authority, projecting confidence and clarity. Using the ring, he communicated intentions, demonstrated understanding, and showcased human ingenuity. The scouts observed patterns, watched humans solve problems, and recognized qualities unique to humanity. In every interaction, Elias realized that humans were capable of rising to challenges no other species could. They could improvise, adapt, and think creatively in ways machines and even advanced aliens could not predict. And the ring, pulsing softly in his hand, seemed to confirm it. One day, the ring projected a vision of distant worlds, each with civilizations at critical points. It showed disasters avoided, conflicts resolved, and knowledge preserved, all guided by bearers like Elias. Humanity had passed a trial, but the true journey was just beginning. Elias understood his responsibility. The ring had chosen him as a bridge, a representative of human potential. It was not a weapon, not a tool for domination, but a symbol of what humans could achieve when courage, ingenuity, and adaptability combined. He gathered the colony leaders and demonstrated the ring's abilities: energy manipulation, predictive awareness, and strategic guidance. They watched in awe as he projected holographic representations of energy flows, manipulated station systems with precision, and anticipated challenges before they occurred. This ring, Elias explained, is more than a tool. It is a guide, a test, and a connection to the wider universe. It has chosen me, yes, but also humanity itself. We have been noticed, and the galaxy will observe us now. The colony leaders nodded, understanding the gravity. They had always known humans were adaptable, resilient, and inventive. Now the universe had confirmed it. As weeks turned into months, Elias trained others carefully. They learned observation, quick thinking, and cooperation, preparing for interactions with distant civilizations. The ring remained a constant guide, pulsing gently, teaching subtly, and strengthening humanity's confidence in itself. Then came the final confirmation. The alien scouts, after observing and testing humanity for weeks, sent a message, simple, direct, and unmistakable. Humanity is worthy. Elias smiled, feeling a mix of pride, humility, and hope. Through one ordinary human, the universe had recognized humanity's qualities: courage, adaptability, and ingenuity. They were not the strongest, the fastest, or the most technologically advanced, but they were special, capable, and ready to face challenges the galaxy might present. The ring pulsed brighter than ever, as if celebrating the achievement. Elias held it close, knowing that his journey and humanity's journey was far from over. There would be new trials, new civilizations, and new challenges. But humanity had been noticed, chosen, and entrusted with a role among the stars. As he looked out at the vast expanse of space, Elias felt the weight of possibility. Humans were no longer confined to their colonies, their planets, or their small systems. Through courage, ingenuity, and the guidance of the cosmic ring, they were ready to step onto a larger stage. And Elias Kane, once a simple mining engineer, had become humanity's first true cosmic ambassador. The universe waited, full of wonders and tests, but humanity had proven its worth. And through one man and one extraordinary ring, it had begun a new chapter among the stars.